today's class is going to be on marketing boot camp. It's actually some great information, also some dialogues. If you've ever thought about farming, utilize the techniques in here. The purpose of today's class is to teach effective approaches and leveraging your working relationships with your clientele. After today's class, you should have a very clear and basic understanding of things you can implement in your business strategies today, especially for marketing for new listings and even for buyer leads as well. So we'll go over the dialogues of that. You can utilize a lot of the different classes that we've already been put out there for everybody. The financial benefits of being a prospector, okay, who is patient and systematic in your approach and creating systems and processes is here. So if you look at year one, as an example, if you're farming to a neighborhood of, let's just say 250 people, all your prospects are 250 people. If you're putting out over a 1 year period of time, at a cost of 50 cents per piece, mailing about 3,000 pieces, your total cost of your investment is roughly $1,500. If you had a great conversion rate of 1%, or actually that's even a minimum, you could actually get up to even 3% or higher, with an average sale price of $150,000, commission rate being 3%. Obviously, our numbers here are greatly more than that, so we're probably 4 or 5 times that amount here in Huntington Beach as an average. And you can see your GCI just off this $150,000 commission would be $13,500. If you reinvested each year thereafter, your proceeds, and reinvested 25% of that back into your business and then grew your farm up a little bit. So for agents who are just starting out in the business and starting farming or considering farming, a good number to start with as far as a farm area is anywhere from 200 homes up to 500. If you're really financially set and money's not a question for you, then you can go higher than that. But starting out, it's going to be quite expensive to get going and get your business off the ground and running, especially in a farm, because you got to be very consistent. The whole thing about farming is being consistent and putting out a message that's consistent with your brand, the message you want to convey. But where a lot of agents fail is where they are only farming for, let's just say, 2 months and then stop and then touch back up again in the next year, or not very consistent in their message, or call it a farm, but it's not really a farm because they're not putting anything out of value on a regular basis. Everything we're going to talk about today is basically having a plan of action, staying the course, being very proactive and intentional in your approach. And that's pretty much what we've been, the constant message we've had in our videos over the past few weeks is being very consistent in tracking your actions. The know, do, and have of a smart farming is having your prospects. So the number of leads that you're going to have, selecting your geographical farm. What you need to know when you're selecting a geographical farm is your turnover rate for the homes. How many homes are selling in the market area? Making sure you can do all that research. Thank God we have a lot of data with regards to the MLS. You've got all that access. You need to know your solicitation dialogue. You need to know your move-up buyer dialogue. What you need to have in possession at the time that you're farming is your 8 and 8 postcards, and we'll get into that in a second as to what that means. And you need to have neighborhood update cards and community information. If you want to get very advanced, you could have a neighborhood website for your farm. And again, this particular piece that we're talking about right now is if you're farming or you're thinking about farming and how to go about farming and what it is. You're very effective in what you're doing and very intentional and proactive. Obviously, you need your tracking sheets. We've been very adamant about doing that. You're always constantly tracking your results. If you don't know what your results are because you're not tracking it, and you don't know if you need to pivot right and go in a different direction with your message because you're not getting the appropriate responses that you intended to get. And of course, having your social media platforms, which I know a lot of you have already got those items in place, and we've discussed that in our previous training classes and boot camps. So let's get into the Smart Farm basics. I can barely even see my message, so let me see if I can. There we go. Okay. Why do you mail for a smart farm? You're doing that to generate leads in your business. The great thing about it is that if you continue your marketing in a downward shifting market, a lot of agents are getting out of the business. And so that's a perfect opportunity for you to stay the course and ramp up your marketing and not decrease your marketing because you think you're not going to be generating any leads. So everybody that continues in that marketing during that downturn, because we will at some point here in the next couple of years, maybe 3 years, have a slight shift in the market. And so by doing your marketing today and getting these things in place, then when the market shifts and decreases, you can still maintain some sort of consistent plan in marketing campaign to where you're still top of mind conscious when the consumers in that market decide that they want to sell. Okay. What are you going to be mailing to the consumers? Neighborhood update cards. Your 8 and 8 listing postcards can be mailed in advance to increase your conversion rates. And again, we're going to get into the what does 8 and 8 mean. Where do you mail? Choosing a neighborhood. Make sure you choose a neighborhood that has a 5% or higher turnover rate, or at least a potential for that. You may not know what the turnover rate is in those communities, but if you contact any one of your title reps, they can absolutely provide you that data. Matter of fact, if you're not even sure where to select an area, just choose several different communities that you're very aware of, you feel very comfortable with, you feel like you can have a connection with. Have your title rep pull those properties and see what the activity is that's going on in there. Make sure they're looking for the last 12 months activity. Make sure that it's in a price range that you're looking to market and that you desire. So as an example, if you're marketing to homes or condos that are $150,000, but you really want to increase your price point, you might be better off targeting homes that are, maybe 600,000, 500,000, or maybe even $1 million. So make sure that the homes in your community are based off of what it is that you're looking to market. And obviously, when you're looking at the communities and the sale price points, obviously you're doing the same activities on $1 million home as you would on a $150,000 condo. You may not spend as much in the marketing portion of it, but by doing that, you can actually increase obviously your income and not have to work so hard, and you're working a lot smarter depending on where you decide to target your leads at. Consistently adding new prospects by reinvesting at least 25% of your proceeds. Oops, actually I might have skipped something. Let me go back up to where to mail. Number 3 is not currently dominated by another agent. If you have one agent and he's successfully killing it in there, or she, and they're hitting 50% or more of the target market, depending on how many homes that are in there. So as an example, if you've got only 10 homes that have sold in the last year in this community, and somebody's already getting like 5 of them per year, and the other 5 are not very consistent, you might not want to spend that much effort into that because that agent's got a very dominant presence in the community. But if you've got a target audience of, let's just say, 50 homes a year selling in a community or more, and an agent's, or several agents have, because there's so many homes that sell in the community. Like I've got a farm like that where there's quite a few agents that are successful in that community. And what I've done is did my research on those individuals, looked up their marketing campaigns, I've looked up their websites, so I know exactly what I'm going up against and who I'm going up against. So you're going to do your research, but if you do your research, make sure you do it. And if you want to go a step further, one of our agents years ago, I'd walked into her house, having a meeting with her, and looked at the dining room table, and the dining room table was full of marketing material. Postcards, brochures, this, that, and the other, flyers, property flyers. And you would think it'd be all her stuff, but it actually wasn't. She had somebody in the community, in several different communities, that were acting as resources for her to provide her with the data, which is the marketing pieces, in order for her to be able to go in there and see exactly what it is that they're putting out. And when you can kind of see what they're doing, sometimes you can say, okay, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If the message that they're conveying and putting out there is generating leads enough for them to survive and make a great living off of farming in that community, then you might want to go ahead and consider maybe duplicating that or finding a void in what it is that they are not providing, and then you can provide something differently that will set you apart from these individuals. Okay, so if you're targeting a specific area, you've got people in the community there. If you're targeting your own community, but somebody, your opposing agent, knows what marketing piece or knows what home you live in, maybe you can ask a neighbor to say, hey, would you mind collecting the marketing pieces that are coming in from XYZ Realtor and get that over to me? I'm just kind of gathering some information so I can see exactly what it is that they're doing. We call it industrial espionage. How to mail your 8 and 8 postcards to all your prospects, follow it up with neighborhood update postcards, consistently add new prospects, and reinvesting 25% of your funds into your related farm transactions. When to mail, the 8 and 8 postcards that we just talked about a couple minutes ago, that's mailing out 1 postcard per week for 8 weeks. So it's 8 and 8. I think you should go to 16 if you're farming. So a lot of agents make a big mistake in farming, where they think, okay, well, I'm going to put out 1 piece a month and let them know who I am. And I might provide some community information, or I might provide a just listed or just sold, but it's been consistently once a month. Well, you got to imagine in a year, they've only seen you or heard from you 12 times. And in order for you to remain top of mind conscious, you've got to get your pieces out there in a short period of time, in a more condensed time period at the front end, so that now going forward, they know who you are and what you do and the message that you're conveying, and they're more apt to take a look at what it is, because now you've flooded them at the first 8 to 16 or 16 weeks with information that they're now you're top of mind because you're constantly in there. I did that for a couple of years, and I may not have, I produced some listings in there, but when I would get phone calls, I would get calls from the consumers in the market saying that, oh, well, you're the dominating agent in here. And it's because I did all that front end work at the beginning of my marketing campaign, to where I was able to generate these leads and give this impression that I was this agent in the community. You can also send out your neighborhood postcard, update postcards, community information. These are civic activities that are going on, events you have coming up. It could be activities that are going on in a particular track. Like, let's say they've got some ice cream social that's being put on, and you're putting something out there for that. You might talk about the bingo night that's coming up, any one of those things, but find a message to get out there and put it out there, okay? Remember this, less information on the card, or the less information in the card, the more likely people are willing to read it. Don't clutter it up with a bunch of fine print stuff that you're thinking is very important information that they need out there. Maybe you can redirect them somewhere else on a postcard to go and receive more information from you. So always mail postcards to your farm area, because unsolicited envelopes rarely get opened. Postcards also allow other eyes to view content. Back when I first started, when we were putting out letters, I had read up and learned that, yellow envelopes were open more than any other type at the time. And so every piece that I was putting out there, if I happened to be putting it in a letter format, I would not have a return mail address, and I just hand wrote the letters on yellow so that they would open it more personalized to them, and they felt like it was maybe a family member or someone else sending them a private letter. So obviously it got opened a lot more, which is what I was trying to get done. Postcards should have a consistent professional appearance and be created around your business image, meaning you've got your brand image that you're putting out there. Make sure it's very consistent, your colors, your message, the way it looks, so that every time they see it, it's just automatic. They know that that's you. It's no different than, the Remax brand having the balloon, and then that becomes your logo, and that's the message that they're putting out there. So whenever the consumer sees it, it's top of mind conscious. You're literally doing the same thing with your brand. This is an example of community information you could put out there. Obviously, everybody's got some type of market reports that you're putting out there, where you've got the updated listing information. Bridget does a great job posting these items. She's got very similar subdivision names out there. She's actually, I think, got like North Huntington, South Huntington, this area, that area, but she puts this out, and she puts it out on social media as well. So she's doing a fantastic job doing that. So if you guys aren't following her, you should kind of inspire yourselves and get you some other ideas on what others are doing and how they're becoming successful in the message that they're putting out there. To increase your results, mail just listed, just sold summary cards to your farm area monthly, summarizing all of the previous 3 months. Such information validates productive behavior and communicates a very powerful message. Now, some of you might think, well, shoot, I didn't sell anything in the last 3 months in this community. You might have sold something somewhere else. One of the things that happens when you are targeting a farm area and the client thinks that you're just selling stuff in this community is that if they happen to be buying something somewhere else, they think, oh, shoot, I'm willing to list my house with Leo Betancourt here, but I'm not willing to purchase with him somewhere else because he doesn't sell over in Fontana. So I'll go buy something else over there in Fontana. So it's nice for them to know that you're selling other homes elsewhere and that you're not just locked into this community, okay? And I'll tell you the important thing about becoming a farming agent. You know, as good as I am in the conversations and the relationships that I built with clients, I had a transaction a bunch of years back before the market turned. An Empire in Corona area. The clients that I'd gotten in this one community had referred me to somebody else who happened to live here in Huntington Beach. It was their dad. He was a former police captain for Huntington Beach PD. And because he was interested in selling his house to purchase this other one. So although he purchased with me, he was referred to other clients of mine that bought in the same community, he did not he gave me the listing, or he gave the listing agent in the community. And I'll hold off 1 second. Can you guys give me a thumbs up and let me know if you guys can see me or hear me? Okay, thank you, because my signal was telling me that it was weak and that it dropped. Okay, so he gave the listing agent because this person was constantly putting out the message in there. And although it's in my backyard, it's right down the street from my office, where I live, where I reside, where I congregate. Because that agent was the dominant listing agent, he just felt like, Leo, this guy sells everything in a week, blah, blah, blah. He dominates this community. And, you know, obviously I could have sold it. It would have sold in a week. Everything was selling in a week at that time period, or maybe even less. But that agent did their job in constantly promoting themselves in this particular track as being the go-to agent and having all the resources for that track, all the sales, the messaging, the clientele, open houses, possibly making phone calls as well, reaching consumers there in that particular track. So it's, you know, if you get into farming, because that's going to help you grow your business significantly. If you can imagine, if you're getting one listing in a particular community, that one listing, you could potentially double end. That buyer could potentially have something that they've got to sell. Then you could potentially double end that listing. So you can see how off of that one client, all of a sudden it kind of spidered out into multiple transactions. You know, a lot of you may wonder, well, how is it that somebody's doing, you know, so many transactions a year? I mean, how is it that even possible? And it's because they're predominantly a listing agent, okay? And there's multiple ways of going about getting that, but this is one of the most common and effective ways. Old school, and it still works. So as a note, to increase your results, mail just listed to summary cards to your farm area, summarizing all your transactions in the past 12 months, and making sure you stay consistent with your message. Quarterly farming postcards, this is for more of an advanced approach. Once you've firmly established yourself as one who gets superior results in a neighborhood, you should market those results periodically with self-promoting postcards. And obviously self-promoting is me, me, me. And it could be something, and this is an example, right? Why list with Susie Realtor? The results speak for themselves. Susie's got, she sold 99% of her listings. Her sale price to listing ratios are 98.3%, and her average days on market is 63. So if you've got results like that and stats like that, don't be share it and put it out there, put that message out there. You know, there's reason to gloat and self-promote yourself, and that's because you're doing a fantastic job. If you've accomplished specific milestones, like let's say, for example, you've achieved certain company levels, right? The consumers may not know that, but they should, because you've accomplished that. It's quite an accomplishment. They may not know exactly what that means, but nonetheless, it's still, promote the fact that you've attained, the 100% club, and thanking your clients and this, that, or the other. Utilize all that marketing. I know some agents who, part of the Children's Miracle Network, mention those items. That's something else, another message you can get out there to the consumer, and gives you one more marketing piece to put out there. We talked about the 8 and 8, and you might be thinking, where do I go and come up with the content to put out there? And you've heard me say this before, GTS, Google that stuff. You can literally find all kinds of things to put out there. The internet's got a wealth of information for you to put out there, so there's no reason at all for you to come up with marketing pieces to put out. If you guys have Photofy's got a wealth of marketing pieces for you. You would be amazed if you went through there and saw all the capabilities you have available at your fingertips. The above postcard also serves as a great marketing mailer for your network and or farm area. Bottom line, sellers want to work with agents who get superior results. That goes back to what I was telling you earlier about the agent who got the listing in the community because he's the farming agent, because he put the message out there that he gets these results. Leo hadn't put one thing out there, so the seller, although he felt comfortable enough to use me in a transaction to purchase, didn't feel comfortable enough to use me for the sale of that particular listing. I always talk about it. I can't let it go. It's a problem, so I've got to move on. Neighborhood farming dialogue. So if you're wondering what it is to say, what the potential outcomes can look like, here's what it is. Quarterly calls should be made to all residents in your farm area to sustain a recognizable and dominant presence. Now you might be thinking, where do I go about getting this information? There are companies that provide the data for you. They're a wealth of information. I know I was talking to Baron Bershaw. He uses Mojo. I know Gladys Gallegos was using Mojo as well. There's also RedX. You've heard Quintavarius talk about that, or Q, who we had speak to us downstairs in social. RedX is great for gathering data as well. Provides you with the email, phone numbers of the prospects in those communities. Might not be all of it, but it's more than what you had before you. So it's something to consider. Your quarterly calls. This call should be made to all residents receiving mails from you. Hi, this is Leo Betancourt. I'm with Remax Terrasol, and I'm simply calling around the neighborhood to see if you may know anyone at this time who's interested in buying or selling real estate. One of the questions, some of the questions you could ask is, have you been receiving my monthly postcards? Do you find any information beneficial? What information would you find helpful or in need of in the area? And have you ever considered selling your home? And then always, of course, thanking them for your time, and I hope you have a great day. A move-up buyer call. This can be made to any suitable neighborhood. Hi, this is Leo Betancourt. I'm with Remax Terrasol. And since interest rates are at an all-time low, I'm simply calling to ask if you're interested in leveraging yourself into a new home. So they might say that I'd have to sell my home first, and then you can, and again, these scripts are just basic dialogue. Change it, adapt it to your verbiage, how you would communicate the message, but it kind of gives you a good, clear basis of what the kind of message you should be putting out there, or some basic dialogues. It'd be my pleasure to help you with the sale of your home, but before I come out, I need to ask a few questions so I can prepare a proper set of pricing tools. And with that, you can go into your pre-listing questionnaires. What kind of a time frame are you looking for? If you sold your home, where are you looking to move to? All these engaging questions keeps the conversation flowing and shows that you're actually interested in the consumer. And at the end of it, if their answer is no, do you know of anyone at this time who would like to take advantage of the low interest rates? This also is an opportunity for you to put out a video. We talked about that in the first boot camp, the power of video. If you could sell your home in the next 35 days, would you? Sample dialogue. Hi, I'm Leo Betancourt. I'm with Remax Terrasol, and the selling season in Huntington Beach is upon us. As a realtor with 23 years of experience, my main focus and priority is you and your time frame. In fact, my roots run deep in Huntington Beach. So I feel strong connection to the community and therefore a duty to ensure the home selling process is as smooth as possible for each and every one of my clients, no matter what the deadline may be. To help you out, explore the housing report I've attached to this video, and then let's partner to find your next home. So again, some basic dialogue for you. I know a lot of you probably aren't making calls like that or sending out videos, but if you're obtaining the data from RedX or Mojo, you got their phone numbers, take an opportunity to connect and send them out a short, quick video. And, you know, obviously make the video personal to them. Don't just say hi all, so that you don't have to go about sending out, you know, multiple videos. It just makes it very quick if you can just send it out, short, quick message, set it and forget it, and see what the responses are. And of course, everything that you're doing is that you're tracking your results. You're seeing how many, you know, you're checking off how many videos did you send out, how many calls did you make, how many door knocks did you put out there or conduct. Having neighborhood websites. This is obviously a more advanced approach that requires additional funds to go ahead and sustain that. But there's websites out there that you can get for $99 a month. There might be companies out there where you can get even cheaper than that. If you want to go more advanced, I think there's companies out there that will charge $150 or more for high-end luxury websites, or even $200 a month and up. Simple neighborhood websites serve as a virtual newsletter and are a great way to add value to the area residents. Properly maintaining neighborhood websites are time-consuming and should be considered only after hiring a full-time marketing coordinator. And basically what that means is that you got to stay current on the information, right? You don't want to have a website that's got stale information that, yes, you manually inputted this data in there or events in there, but because you're not constantly in there visiting it and updating it, you're not being very good in your approach. You might have initially been very proactive and intentional, but then that fell by the wayside because you don't have an assistant or haven't delegated these tasks to somebody else. I know we've talked about it with some of the agents as far as going out and getting a marketing assistant to help you do the activities that you don't have the time to do, because the activities that you should be doing are going on listing presentations and showings for properties. That's basically it. All the other activities that are entailed in your marketing can be delegated out. Neighborhood website content. First, you got to buy a neighborhood domain name. As an example, I've got a domain for the community that I market in. Some of the items that you can include on your website include interesting and valuable real estate articles or information, neighborhood pricing updates, what's going on in the community, what the homes are going for, potential tax advantages of moving up, property tax information, how to contest property taxes. I know you may not know how to do that, but if you can go online and GTS that, you'll find all the how-tos on how to get that accomplished. Great information to put out there. Mortgage information, your updated vendors list, personal advertisements, your testimonials, obviously your personal listings and your selling statistics, free reports. Okay, there's tons of reports out there. Again, you may not have that currently in your possession. You'll be surprised. Again, we revert back to Google for that. Inspirational stories, recipes, neighborhood activities that you conduct, such as food drives, ice cream socials, you name it. Put that information out there. And again, make sure you stay current on that. A lot of these activities don't implement it. Don't be, a cheetah, right? Cheetah is the fastest animal on land from here to the end of the block, and then that's it, they peter out. So you got to make sure you're staying very, very consistent and intentional and proactive in your approach and stay the course. Don't give up on it. Because if you did, all your marketing efforts that you did up front, money out the window, tossed aside. Okay. So make sure you commit to your plan, commit to your actions that you take. Make the website the go-to place for neighborhood real estate information. And again, if you're not promoting the website, the consumers aren't going to know to get there. So make that website part of your marketing plan on every piece that you put out there. Maybe even make it part of your videos, mentioning it in your videos for them to go to your website, www.leobetancourt.com, and go and get some free reports on the 10 best things to do to your property to get the biggest return on your investment. Okay, there's all kinds of reports out there. Social media location targeting. We talked about that with regards to our videos and your, I forget what the course we did last week. Utilizing Facebook Ads Manager, social media, and Remax tools allow you to create a targeted audience list based on location. When it's talking about Remax tools, you know, all of you should know we have Megaphone that promotes your listings. You guys have the option of promoting those listings online through social media ads that are being ran. You spend however much it is you want to spend on that particular ad. It could be $25 to reach so many people, or you could spend, you know, $300 or even more, whatever your target number is. You can create custom web ads and listing social ads with the ability to monitor the reach and the interactions with your core neighborhood audience. Note, you can create custom ad utilizing the tools and resources provided by Remax or any additional programs of your choice. Facebook location targeting. Once your custom ad is created, you will create your core audience within the audience section of the ads set or the ad sets found in the Facebook Ad Manager. I know several of you personally are doing Facebook advertising, but I don't know how overall doing it. But I know the ones that are getting a lot of leads. They've gotten over 200 leads. I mentioned them in the previous training courses that we've had. Under location, select either everyone in the location or the people who live in this location. You can use the target portion of the Facebook ad to either expand your audience or decrease it and narrowing it down to a specific area. So utilize that. It's a quick and easy tool. You're gonna have to get in there and try it so that you can figure out what's gonna work for you. And again, everything in marketing, guys, is testing and tracking your results so that you know if you've got to pivot right, because what it is that you're doing or the message that you're conveying out there has gotten you literally 0 leads. Okay, effective marketing should at least produce you some leads or some responses. It might be that you need to figure out how it is that you go in creating a hook to get some replies. One hook on one ad might work 1 month, but by the time you ran several of the same hooks over a course of a year, it may no longer be working. So you've got to pivot and do something else and try something else. Your digital 8 and 8 campaign is very similar online as it would be in print. So in place of or in addition to your 8 and 8 postcards, you can schedule digital ads to go out weekly through Facebook and social media tools. This will keep you top of mind with your potential and existing customers. This campaign, in conjunction with your social media presence and postcards, can be mapped out quarter by quarter. And again, with regards to your social media marketing, the reason why they're saying your 8 and 8 is that your content is staying fresh and it's not stagnant. I've seen ads on there that have remained the same over the last 1.5 to 2 years from agents that are Facebook marketing, and the face or look of it hasn't changed. They may have content that's changed on the back end, but the piece on the front end where the consumers are seeing it has remained stagnant. And so it could be that they're either keeping it on there because that's produced a lot of results, or it may not be producing any results. So again, that goes back to tracking your results and figuring out what's going to work for you. The bottom line is utilize these methods for a cost-effective way to reach your audience in a proactive and intentional manner. It's a consistent message you're hearing throughout the process of what we're doing here. The financial benefits of property calls. Okay, you've done all your hard work. You've generated some leads, or you generated some listings in the community or in any other area. So we all get property sign calls, right? Could be sign calls. It could be calls off of the internet. But as an example, a consistent agent, okay, we have a consistent and efficient and proficient. But let's just say as an example, you've got 20 listings that you've got. You're getting on average per listing 10 calls, which means you've gotten 200 calls over the course of that time period. You've got a set rate for appointments of 15%, which means you've got 30 appointments that you set. 50% of those showed up. You've got your total meetings that you've had of the 50% that showed up, or you showed up to, means you've got 15 meetings. Your conversion rate being 45% on average, which means you equate that to 7 potential transactions for you. If you want to get more efficient and more advanced and being very proficient, is if you're getting getting calls off of more listings of what you're producing outside the community there, or even in the community. And another thing that you guys can do is, don't think, well, I don't have any listings. And we're going to get into this later on in this session. I've got no listings, but how do I go about generating some in a particular community? And so we're going to talk about that, door knocking, obviously, and cold calling in a community. We've got some agents in our office that are highly successful in calling around existing listings that we currently have. And it may not be their listing. It may not even be my listing or a Remax Terrace listing, but it's somebody's listing. And the fact that a new one came on the market, then they can go out there and start calling that, hey, have you noticed that this property at 123 Easy Street has come on the market? And, so we've created the dialogues for you in today's class, okay? Okay, the no, do, and have of property calls with your signs in the yard. You've got to label the caller. The things you need to know before the calls come in is your greeting dialogue, your labeling dialogue, which is identifying what type of client they are, what type of buyer they are, what type of caller are they, and then your justification dialogue, which is what is it and how is it that you're going to get them to meet with you over somebody else. What you need to have in order for that to occur, obviously, is have listings for you to get sign calls. And as we're always promoting, tracking sheets so you can track your results based off of those calls that are coming in. As agents, you got to check your attitude. So quick review of your core beliefs. Okay, we've got a list of 12. Your core entrepreneurial beliefs are: there's no growth without discomfort. We talked about that before. I live in a world of abundance, meaning I have a destiny to attain more than what I currently have today. The market does not and will not determine my income. Okay. My only limit is time. Focus is the key to success. I reap what I sow. Success stems from duplicable processes and systems. We constantly talk about that. It is unacceptable for my business to earn $0 profit. Okay. At all costs, you're going to make it happen. People have lived before me. You're just replicating what's already been done before and what has been a proven strategy, which has worked for countless realtors out there in the US. These things still work. Leverage is the key to abundance. It's a win-win or no deal. And cost is only an issue in the absence of value. I love that last one. Cost is only an issue in the absence of value. When you look at agents that are out there and being the 1%ers, and I don't mean the 1%er meaning that you're in the 1% income bracket. I mean, you're the 1%er where you're the listing agent who's listing properties at 1% because you aren't able to communicate effectively the value of what you provide to the client. We've got multiple agents in the office that are consistently getting 5 and 6%, some of them slightly higher in their message because of the value that they're providing to the client, and they're able to effectively communicate that value. So you don't need to be like the other agents that are the discounters and significantly affecting your income because you aren't able to effectively communicate your value. So make sure you know what that is and what sets you apart from somebody else. Real estate sales beliefs. Real estate sales can be a get rich or business. Real estate sales is basic. Real estate sales is a task business. I will not convert 100% of the leads I do not generate. That's a guarantee. People will trust and follow what I can logically and tangibly explain. And it's unacceptable to leave the client's money on the table. And might I add, it's also unacceptable to take their money as far as ripping them off. That's a risk management session. Buyer beliefs, time reveals all. Motivated, qualified, and loyal people buy homes. Having a process reduces the risk that comes with buyers. If they won't meet me, they are not a buyer. Okay, that's a clear message. A buyer deserves my immediate time and attention. Buyers, for me, when I first started out in the real estate industry, I had obviously no money at the time. I was coming from something that, I was living paycheck to paycheck and not having any money. And in my marketing and learning and tracking, I figured out what worked for me in generating my buyer leads. And, all the leads that I generated, all the calls came in on Wednesday. And from Wednesday to Friday, the calls started trickling down. But the most calls came in on the Wednesday because that's when the ads were hitting. And so all the clients that were calling, or all the potential prospects that were calling, were all saying the same thing, right? Based off of my marketing, can I get the address? And, I had to figure out very quickly, and this was through trial and error, how can I get them to meet with me without me providing them the address? Because obviously all they want to do is get the address so they can drive by the house and see if they like it and have to go and now schedule an appointment to go see the inside. So I had to come up with a very creative way of doing that. And for me at the time, there's probably a lot of other better ways of doing it. But what I did is I said that, the seller unfortunately wouldn't allow me to give out the address. He didn't want people going up and knocking on the door and being harassed. So I promised them that I wouldn't give out the address. And so that means that I have got to personally take all the clients to the property and show them myself. And so obviously their response was, Leo, I would never do that. Never. And I would say, I know, but to be honest with you, I had somebody else who, just like you, told me the same thing, and I trusted them. And guess what they did? They went up to the house and knocked on the door. My client was very upset at what happened. So as much as I would love to just be able to provide you the address, I would rather meet with you at the office so we can discuss things and go from there to the property and on our scheduled appointment. And very rarely did I get any pushback because it obviously made sense. I don't know who they are. They don't know who I am. I'm not saying that they're, lying to me, but I had to utilize something to get them to get in front of me, because I knew once they got in front of me, then I was going to be able to communicate value, ask appropriate questions, have great dialogue with them, and ask a lot of questions about who they are, their family, just everything that's going on, just normal, basic human conversation. Because my biggest thing was building that rapport. Buyer leads, if you can imagine, we've all gone through this. You get the calls off the property, and some agents, we're going to go through the dialogue on what later on, but they tend to focus more on trying to sell the house than actually getting the client and building that relationship with the client. So they become it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2-car garage, it's listed for $600,000. Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. Have a great day. Have any questions? Give me a call. And then they wonder why things aren't working. So you got to be very intentional and proactive in what you're doing and have a purpose. And you're not just there providing information on a property. Typical behavior, and this is going right into that. Don't be typical, okay? You answer the phone, hello, and I'm calling about your listing on 123 Easy Street. What would you like to know? The caller says, well, how much are they asking for the home? You give them the price of the home. You tell them the stats of the property. It's got 5 bedrooms, 4 baths. It's 2,500 square feet on a cul-de-sac. They answer, okay, thank you. And you say no problem. And then the call hangs up, and then you're trying to figure out, wow, these leads are horrible. The sign calls are horrible, but it's really just in the approach that you're giving me, because you're becoming a Kmart greeter or a new home construction builder greeter who's just basically just providing data. and not actually connecting with the consumer. So typical agents think the only goal of a property call is to provide information. Most agents do this hoping the answer given meets the needs of the caller and are resigned to disappointment upon realizing they rarely do. The goal of an effective property call is to not only reveal information, providing the information that they're asking for, but also to label exactly where the caller is in the home buying process. Therefore, when someone calls regarding a listing, your goal is to answer any and all their questions, right? Which is providing the data that they're inquiring about: price, bedroom count, bathroom count, square footage. Identify where they are in the home buying process. Close and follow up accordingly. Okay, so let's go back to number 2: identifying exactly where they are in the home buying process. How long have you guys been looking for a home? Are you currently working with another realtor? If you are you under contract? Why is it that you have to buy a home now? Are you currently renting? So when you start asking all these probing questions and keep the dialogue moving forward, you're actually engaging them in their understanding that you're not just trying to sell the house. You're actually you're asking very important questions because you're trying to meet their needs, right? Which sets you out as a consultant and a professional, as opposed to you just being a car salesman and trying to sell the property. Or now, I will say this: if you're in an open house and your client's got video cameras and audio in place and can hear everything you're saying, you better 100% be trying to sell that house. Otherwise, it's going to come back to bite you. So, little food for thought there. Okay, providing information. Your first obligation is to provide the caller with the information they seek. If someone is calling you for information about a property, chances are good that they are also calling other agents, which they are, 100%. When I was running my ads, it was first one that answers a call and has a dialogue with them and locks them in, then the consumer now can stop calling other people because they've got a hold of somebody. You've asked all the appropriate questions, you build rapport with them, and you're trying to achieve their goals, not your goals of making money, but their goals of home ownership or selling their property, whatever that purpose is, okay? Thus, the way you answer the phone and converse with the caller is a great opportunity to distinguish yourself from the competition. When answering the phone, sound positive and upbeat. Callers must perceive that you sincerely want to help them. That is hugely important. I was very, very effective at establishing a rapport, building the connection with people who didn't know me, strictly off of them making one phone call off my ad, and I would be there answering the calls, Johnny on the spot, had all my dialogue in place, ready to go. And let's just say that you're the agent that doesn't quite know the dialogue. When you jump in with both feet, and let's just say that you're not hugely script-minded and that kind of stuff, you really just got to sometimes just do it so that you can go through the trial and error. And after each call that you've lost or you hung up with it and you realize it didn't go somewhere, analyze what it is that you did, what it is that you said, how you could have changed the conversation and redirected it in a different way to get better results or to set the appointment. One of the things that I did early on was constantly analyze what it is that I did, how I could have said a different word that would have produced a different outcome for me. And I was very successful at getting that done and accomplishing that to get the goals that I needed, which was to, ultimately build connection and rapport, have a client for life, get them into a property, and then move on to the next one, still asking for the referrals and expanding upon all that. Obviously, all those things are taking place because next week, right, every single week I had ads coming out. And so I knew every Wednesday, from Wednesday to Wednesday, I had opportunities to put people into escrow, get my clients qualified in the properties or into financing. And if they weren't, then they were put on the back burner as a follow-up, not just for myself, but for my lender partner who was qualifying those buyers. So let me see, I forgot where I left off. Okay, so keep the caller engaged by staying curious. The caller says, I'm calling about your listing on 123 Easy Street. Yes, that's a great property. What would you like to know? Well, how much are they asking for the home? Well, the price of the home is $150,000. Does that fit within your price range, or is that within your budget? Yeah, how many bedrooms does the house have? The house has 4 bedrooms. Are you looking for 4 or are you looking for 3? So you can see how you can, if you're just simply answering the questions and not asking any questions, then you don't care. You're just providing information for them, okay? And then the call's going to end up the way that you don't want it to go, which is them hanging up the phone and you wondering how you could have converted that lead. So always make sure that you're probing questions. Some of the things that I did was, I mentioned it earlier. What's your time frame for looking for a property? If they happen to be calling off of an ad that I ran in, Anaheim, are you only looking in Anaheim? Or are you open to other areas? Have you bought a property previously? How was that experience? Oh, well, I lost a home to foreclosure. Oh, wow. Yeah. So we want to make sure we don't go down that road again. So all of these things that you're asking really means that you're showing that you care and that you're engaging with them. And the reality is that if you make it too professional, then you become the salesman, but you can actually, ask all the right questions as a consultant, as a true professional, in really being engaging and normal, okay? And having human interaction as if it's normal dialogue, okay? And not making it super scripted to where you feel like a robot, it's like blah, 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 blah. And hi, my name is Leo, how are you? So scripts can get you to that point. Practice your scripts where it flows off smoothly for you and you're communicating very effectively, but more importantly, asking the right questions. If the home meets the first 3 caller needs, move directly to the labeling phase by saying, this home sounds like it's a great option for you. May I ask, how are you going about finding your new home? Keep providing the caller with information and re-engaging until you hear no from them. Upon hearing no, you must immediately switch roles from information giver to labeler by asking the caller, are you currently in the market for a new home? Again, this kind of goes into dialogue for a caller who is ready to buy. Once relevant information is provided, you must label the caller by asking, are you currently in the market for a new home? If they say yes, how are you going about finding your perfect home? How would you like to, and if their answer implies that they're not being intentional, then say, how would you like to use a proactive process that will ensure you get the home you want and want the home that you're getting? And the reply could be, what would that entail? And it would begin with us getting together for about an hour or so I can uncover exactly what you need in your next home, define your financial comfort zone, and thoroughly discuss the roles and expectations we would have of one another in a successful working relationship. And does that sound like an approach that could benefit you? And if they say yes, obviously you book an appointment. I like to use 2 different time frames. I know this one's saying I have tomorrow open at 2. Does that work for you? I like to say, I have tomorrow open at 2, or I have the next day. But don't book your appointments out in a week. Time is of the essence. The callers are constantly calling other people because they're just trying to either one, get information from the particular property that they're looking for, but all you're looking for though is the fact that they've raised a hand and they've contacted you. So your goal immediately is to try to set up an appointment. And when you're, as this is identifying, talking about a proactive process, it's basically setting up a buyer presentation meeting, okay? And that's hugely important because you're building connection. What you need to do is make sure that you set an appointment, because the sooner that you're able to meet with them face to face and get on a human level with them, as opposed to a disconnect where you're over the phone and you're only communicating by email and you haven't gotten a chance to meet them because, obviously they don't know who you are. They've contacted you off of an ad. And so you're trying to quickly build rapport. But the best way to do that, though, is when you get in person so they can see your expression, they can see your appearance, they can hear your dialogue that you're having with them and see that you're absolutely 100% sincere in trying to achieve their goals, okay, not your goals. If they say no, when you ask them if they could see how this would benefit them, if they say no, then feel free to ask why they feel like it wouldn't be helpful for them. This dialogue demonstrates an eagerness to help, which is highly attractive and missing in most buyer's agents, okay? If they immediately see a benefit in working with you, then book an appointment for the first meeting, write and mail a thank you card, send a personalized video message the day before meeting with them, or even afterwards, after getting the call, thanking them for, and that you look forward to seeing them next week or whatever the time, or in 2 days when your appointment has been set. And then, of course, call 4 hours prior to your appointment, or at least in enough time to give them ample opportunity to change things if something else came up, or verify that they're still on track to meet with you, so that you don't lose any time. And again, that's truly being a professional agent. It's also an opportunity for you to create a video. Hey, Mike, it's Leo here. Super excited to be meeting you at your home tomorrow at 2 o'clock. A few things I wanted to share with you ahead of our time. Please have XYZ documents ready to go over so we can make the most of our time together. Also, I'd love to know where your go-to coffee order is. I'm swinging by Starbucks on my way and would love to treat you to a fresh cup of coffee for our meeting at 2 o'clock. Looking forward to seeing you and your family tomorrow at 2. Please feel free to reach out and let me know if you have any questions before then. Again, easy dialogue for you guys to go over. Again, you can change it, modify it. The fact that you even have something, well-organized realtor can have all of these scripts and dialogues in place for what it is that you're receiving, what type of calls you're having, and you're going over and over and over it again. And as you progress in your business plan and in your contacts, you're going to become a lot more effective in your approach. But literally, this dialogue works, guys. You're going to see a tremendous benefit. And it may not be this dialogue that works for you, but it's going to be some dialogue that's going to work in one form or another. But at least you're going about trying to figure out what to do and what to say and how to become more effective in what it is that you're communicating. Your justification dialogue, okay, this comes into setting up your appointments and how you're going to go about doing that. So your time is limited, so you must choose to invest it in vital activities only, okay, not wasting your time. Consistently emailing information to behaviorally unwilling buyers is a high-risk venture and a hot stove issue. Remember, serious buyers behave like serious buyers. If you're getting pushback from somebody, time to move on. Can't you just email me the information? This is the same thing like me saying, can't you just give me the address of the property, right? I'm just going to drive by. And if I like it, I'm going to call you, Leo. This is what I used to get all the time off my ads. It was literally the same thing from everybody. So I was well scripted in my responses. So as a consultant, do you not see a benefit in us getting together? The prospect or the client, potential client's going to say, well, the other agents don't have me do this. And you can say, exactly, understand that I'm a real estate consultant and am extremely serious about what I do. I don't do this part-time. I run a business, and I'm not just in the business of showing houses. I'm in the business of satisfying needs. Okay. You can see how that drastically might either take the guard down from somebody or cause them to react negatively. And if they do, then you know that that's not your buyer that you're looking for, I have a process that I use with all my clients. Therefore, what we need to do before I start emailing you information is define your perfect home. Make sure the homes we consider fall well within your financial comfort zone, and thoroughly discuss our roles and expectations in a successful working relationship. That last part, as far as the working relationship, I don't like to say those kinds of words only because it causes for me a disconnect. I'm trying to come off to them as if, I've known you guys for years. You guys are great. I love your personality. You're going to love mine. So I try to make everybody feel warm and comfortable immediately so that I get that guard down. So when you start creating this separation between client and agent, then for me, it just felt a little bit too much of a sales pitch. And so I always just try to connect or use words that connect as if we're friends and whatnot, as if I've known them for years. And that for me seemed to work. I believe the best approach when investing a large sum of money is to operate as an intentional and proactive team. Wouldn't you agree? And if they say yes, you immediately book for your appointment, give your 2 time frames, 2 o'clock or 5 o'clock tomorrow, which one's better? You're going to hear the response, and then you can close for a different time that's more convenient for both parties. If they say no, because they're not seeing that as a value add to them, then clearly that's not a serious buyer for you. So as the message says there next, bye-bye, Felicia. After you have a listening conversation, you can send a quick video follow-up. Again, looking for opportunities to send videos, which is huge right now and very beneficial for you and get your message across a lot quicker and more sincere. Hi, Robert. I hope you're having a wonderful day. First, I wanted to say how appreciative I am to that you took the time to meet and speak with me today. I want you to understand from the very beginning that my goal is to not come in and give you a presentation about what it is I think you want to hear, but rather to have a conversation to see if a win-win working relationship can be created. In order to do that, I'd love to hear a little more from you. What one thing has to happen to make the experience of selling your home top of the charts? I want to ensure a positive, productive, and successful experience for you and your family, and I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you and have a great day. Again, adapt your dialogue that's going to suit your needs. You might not use the words exactly the way they are written, but if you don't have anything to work off of, always best to use the scripts that are provided for you. Okay. Here's some advanced approach, more direct approach. In regards, another way to justify a first meeting is to say, in regards to your next home, is it important that you make an informed, intelligent decision? Obviously, everybody's going to pretty much say yes. It's important that, is it important that you take a proactive approach rather than a reactive one? Is it important that you get the home you want, and more importantly, want the home that you get? Is it important that you make a logical decision rather than one based entirely on emotions? And most everybody's going to say yes to all of those answers. Then shouldn't we use a proactive process that would guarantee these things? If you get no, then you just have somebody just completely disengaged with you, hasn't connected with you, sees no purpose in what you provide or value in what you provide to the clients. And so again, next, moving on to somebody else, because you want to make sure that you're spending your time more appropriately and effectively and with the right people. Remember, your choices, actions, and habits create your character, your destiny, and your legacy, okay? This is a sample dialogue for a looker who's working with another agent. So are you currently in the market for a new home? Yes. How are you going about finding your perfect home? Well, we're working with an agent. Well, what process are you using to guarantee to get the home that you want? More importantly, want the home that you get? I'm not sure what you mean. Did your agent invest time on the front end, defining your perfect home, making sure of your financial parameters, and thoroughly discussing the roles and expectations necessary for a successful working relationship? They say no, or yes, I guess she did. Would you see value in being more intentional and proactive in your approach? You know, obviously we have a lot of agents that are going through, our consumers are going through a lot of experiences with multiple offers on homes. I know that there are a lot of agents who just kind of set it and forget it. They just put their clients into the MLS system, and then the MLS is sending them the property updates, and the agents aren't really being proactive and intentional in trying to get those get those clients into a property. And so this dialogue actually helps you greatly in helping give you some basic understanding of what to communicate to the consumer to convert that lead over to you. One of the questions you obviously need to ask is, did you sign anything with that agent? They say no. Would you be open to meeting with me so we can begin a more focused approach? And if they say yes, obviously you book for an appointment. If they say that they are working or did sign an agreement with another agent, then obviously your conversation stops. Thank them so much and for calling you. And if their agent has any information, give you a call. Or you wish them the best of luck in their endeavor searching for their home. Okay, but I'll tell you what, make sure you leave that conversation on a very good note, because oftentimes they might be working with that agent, and when they don't get what they want, regardless of that agent being a family member or a dear friend, their best friend, if that agent is not getting them what they want, all they really care about is getting the house that they want. So they may find out, if you left a good taste in their mouth and had great dialogue with them and gained, even though it was a short time over the phone, gained some trust with them, they will most likely come back to you as another choice because they're not getting the results that they were expecting, and your dialogue with them was very effective, okay, in the message that you were conveying and how you asked specific questions of them. Dealing with a caller that's not a buyer, I'm not in the market right now. Are you currently in the market for a new home? Nope. So what initiated your call today? Well, I was just curious to know what the values were going for. Do you currently own a home? Yes. Have you ever thought about selling it? No. Do you know anyone who is interested in buying or selling? Not at this time. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you. If I can ever be of service to you or anyone you know, please don't hesitate to call. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great day. Remember, if they say no, you must say next. Bye-bye, Felicia. We're focusing on clients who are actually interested and serious about buying a property, and they're open-minded to dealing with a professional, okay? So don't waste your time with, people that you're not getting responses from or positive responses from. This is being very, again, proactive and intentional in your communication and your message that you're conveying out there. Caller who's not currently ready to buy. Are you currently in the market for a new home or just looking right now? I don't think we're ready to buy. When do you think you'd be ready to buy? Well, maybe in about 2 to 12 months. What's important to you about waiting 2 to 12 months? That question right there is huge, okay? Because now you're just going to shut up and listen, and then you're going to ask further questions or respond accordingly, okay? And again, this shows that you're concerned, you're interested in trying to help them out, and it's going to mean and set the guard down from them when you're actually listening and responding accordingly. Don't just get so caught up in your dialogue and your scripts that you asked an important question, you heard the message, but you didn't process the information to formulate your response, okay? If you're simply now moving on to the next question because you're so script oriented and not really in tune with engaging in normal basic human conversation, then you're really going to mess up and you're going to miss a perfect opportunity to retain that client. And by you just going into your scripts, it's going to put that wall up and then not really build a connection with you. So would you mind if I stayed in touch with you through the mail as well as with phone calls from now and then? That way, when you're ready to buy, we can virtually assure you'll find a home that meets your specific needs. Their response was, that would be fine. Super. May I have your mailing address and phone number? Yes, it was a pleasure meeting you. I look forward to visiting with you in the near future. Thank you again for calling and have a great day. Serious buyers behave like serious buyers. And, I was very good at getting these types of responses because, obviously a lot of the calls that I was generating were all predominantly first-time buyers because of the ads that I was putting out there. It was triggering ads. It was 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2-car garage, cul-de-sac community, cheapest in the neighborhood, right? Very few words, right? Because very few words cause them to call me to inquire more, right? You've heard that saying, less is more. I didn't put all the information on about the property. Oh, it's got a pool. It's got spacious backyard, all these things. I just put the ad in the community. Sometimes I wouldn't even put the price, right? Because the price I can adapt, right? If I was trying to promote another listing or I sold the other one and I'm trying to generate calls off of something else. So less is more. Okay, those were triggering points that caused my phone to ring left and right. And then I could get out there, handle the calls and convert them. The ones who weren't serious, move on. I just need to focus on the ones that are buying and get them out in the properties. Okay, property call plan. The no, do, and have of a property call. What you need to know is your greeting dialogue, which we talked about, your labeling dialogue, and your justification dialogue. What you need to have is a listing, your home ads that are running out there, your personal property websites, or your personal websites, but you can also have personal property websites. And again, your tracking sheets so that you're tracking your results. You'll be amazed at what you can learn when you start tracking the results. It's all data that's being provided when you document these activities. And if you guys don't have tracking, I used to carry a notepad with me in the car, and if I were out and about and I started receiving calls, I'd pull right over, handle all the calls that were coming in there, and then I would start tracking what calls were coming in. Whether it was Anaheim or Aliso Viejo or Mission Viejo. All the ads that I ran to track the entire county to see where I was going to get the most bang for my buck and the biggest amount of calls. So I would try all these different communities. And one of the things that you need to know, guys, when you're running your ads is that the calls that they're calling about, or the properties that they're calling about, we all know that's not necessarily the property that they're actually going to end up buying. So agents get so caught up in running ads for the property, or in focus on trying to sell that property because it's a great price point, blah, blah, blah. All you're really trying to do is utilize that little leader, that ad, that property, to get consumers to contact you in one form or another, so that you can assist them in whatever capacity it is that they're needing assistance with, whether it's buying a property for the first time, whether it's they're looking for their family member who's moving to the area, and that family member called you on that property because they just wanted to get an idea, right? So get more focused on trying to help them achieve their goals than rather selling the property itself. Okay, here's some examples. I was great at generating first-time buyer ads. Why rent when you can own? Free list of homes that are available under 900,000. I know Dolan and Mike Taylor down at the Dana Point office are running very similar ads like that. They're not saying first-time buyer, but they're definitely running ads for the cheapest homes in a particular community, which is help generate them a boatload of leads. Okay, so again, leader ads, where you're causing a cause and effect, right? You're running an ad that's causing, and because of the way the ad's written and your hooks, you're causing the consumers to respond to you. Okay. You can also provide property reports. Again, you may not have those, and these are just some examples, but I guarantee you guys, GTS, there's all kinds of information for you to utilize, all at your fingertips. You can rewrite it. One of the companies that, or one of the individuals that I used to follow early on in my career was Craig Proctor. I know a lot of you have gone to some of his courses now, but back then he was the #1 agent in the world at the time with his team. I don't know what it was, selling a house every minute or something. It was crazy, the amount of properties. And so anyways, he provided all of his marketing pieces, his ads. He provided all the ads that he ran and what were the ones that generated. I learned how to track based off of that system that he had, which was the biggest component, is tracking your results. But one of the things that he provided in there was also free reports. And there were several of them, multitude of things and topics for sellers, for buyers, but you can get all that information off of Google, right? And you can provide that on your websites as well as links for them to obtain that information, or provide their contact information in order for them to get these reports, or having them send you a text for you to just instantly reply with the reports for them, right? You guys can have that all saved in your iPhones or your smartphones and be able to send that out to the clients directly. And again, you're building connection with them, and it opens up the door for more dialogue. You can also direct people to the websites where they can download the free reports. To receive the report list, the visitors must register. This allows you to build your specific database for future target marketing. It's also a video opportunity for you. Forget everything you currently know about the real estate process. You don't hear that every day, do you? Hi, everyone. I'm Leo Betancourt with Remax Terrasoul, and I do things a bit differently than the average realtor. My primary goal within a real estate transaction is to make sure you receive full value of service, and full value of your next home. Full service to me entails having a conversation, not just presenting listings I think you'd like. It's about getting to really know you and your family in order to find the perfect fit for your needs and wants. Check out the testimonial I've linked to this video, and just for fun, comment below with one word describing your dream home. Thank you and have a great day. Your ad should reflect your goals. The more vague the ad is, the more calls you will receive. And that is so true. I spoke about that with my ads that I was running and generating my leads. It didn't contain all this, new carpeting, new flooring, new this, new that, whatever it is. So basic, so minimal is what caused people, and it was intriguing to the consumer to find out more. All I cared about was just that somebody was essentially raising their hand in the community, whether I knew that they were qualified to buy a house or not, it didn't matter. I at least had the opportunities to capture those leads, okay, because of the ads that I was running. And that's the important part, because once they contact you, you can decide whether it's a viable lead or not. And if they're not, you set them aside and you're moving on to the next one, right? But if they're not calling you, they're not reaching out to you, they're not emailing you, you don't have that opportunity. You'll never know who they are. So again, this goes into being very proactive and intentional in your approach. What gets measured gets done. Okay, using the following sheets to track your calls received from your yard sign, home ads, and websites. If any of you want a hard copy of this presentation today, just let me know. Send me a text. If you're here in the office, I'll print it off for you. I'll place it on your desk if you have one here, or I will place it in your mailbox if you work. If you like tangible things in your hands, let me know. Otherwise, I can email it to you. So just let me know. This is all great information, guys. You should absolutely be using this in your business as opposed to just being unintentional in your approach. Your definitions, your calls are your calls resulting from your marketing, right? Your sets or your appointment sets that you've made based off of those calls. Your meetings are actual face-to-face meetings, not over the phone. Your signed listing agreements, and an active buyer is a buyer who's actively out there looking at properties with you. Okay. When I was tracking all my results, my biggest thing was immediately just trying to set up an appointment just to get the first meeting with them as quickly as possible. It's very important that you're very active. Buyers today are constantly out there. Again, they have a goal, and the goal is just home ownership. And some of the times they're loyal to you, and some of the times they're not. And because they don't know you, they're not loyal to you. They're loyal to their family and or themselves, right? They have or somebody else has the object of what they want, which is home ownership. So your biggest thing is to connect with them immediately. And I was very good at setting an appointment immediately, either later on that evening or the next day, but I never let it go beyond a day or two. Okay. It was very crucial that I met with them immediately so that I get them to connect with me very quickly, and so that they stop looking with somebody else. Okay. That's so important. Take that same approach with the phone calls. Don't wait for, the next day to respond to a lead that's called in. Call back immediately. Connect with them immediately. If you're in a meeting, let them know your call is very important to me, and have an auto reply as that. If it's a lead calling in, your call is very important to me. I want to make sure that I get back to you. I'll be finished in my meeting shortly. Is there anything in particular that you were calling about so that I had this information for you when I get back to you? Create something, try different scripts, see what's going to cause a response, because all you want is a connected response from the consumers that are out there. Okay. These are just listed campaigns. Losing my voice because I'm very passionate about marketing. Okay. Financial benefits of putting out your just listed campaigns. As an example, if you've got 20 listings in a year, you're going to have 275 touches per listing. Okay. And 25 touches is, 25 door knocks, 50 phone calls, 200 postcards around the neighborhood of your listing over the course of that year. If you had 20 listings, that amounts to 5,500 touches. If you had a 0.25% return on setting appointments, you would have 14 appointments based off of those numbers. If you had 50% show-up ratios off of those 14 set appointments, that's 7 potential meetings. And if your closing ratios are 45%, that means you've got 3 additional transactions. Okay, that's just being consistent. Obviously, the numbers go up if you're more efficient and proficient at what you're doing. But every listing, you just automatically should be doing the 25 door knocks. If you want to be far more effective in what you're doing, more than 25. You could do 100 door knocks. There's no reason why you can't. It's not that 100 people are going to be answering the door, but you might do 100 door knocks and you got 25 people that answer the door, right? So if you only did 25 door knocks and you got 5 people to answer the door, that's not very effective, right? You can spend a little bit more time because we all have that. But make your phone calls as well. And this is obviously, so long as you've got the data for that, the phone call information, the email information. If you subscribe to Mojo and you only obtained their phone numbers for some clients, and others you've got emails, make sure you're incorporating both of them, right? Send out the other clients emails and make sure that your emails have hooks in order for them to reply to you to obtain something or get something of value for them, so that you're at least engaging in a conversation with them. And then, of course, sending out your postcards. We all know that. So I was going to say, what some of our agents are doing here and what has been highly successful for them is that they may not have a listing in a particular community, but a listing had just gone up in a particular community. Because they had the data, they were able to call all the property owners in that surrounding that community and let them know about the new listing coming up. Now, you don't need to say it's your listing because that would be inappropriate and unethical, but you can certainly talk about a new listing that came up, and you don't need to mention who it was listed by unless they asked for it. But did you know that the listing just came up around on ABC Easy Street? And, have that dialogue, and you guys can script your dialogue out to where it's more effective. That also works, and it has worked for a lot of our agents that I've got out there door knocking and to talk about a new listing that just came up. That not only helped them to build rapport, but they also ended up getting other listings by it and other buyers from it as well. So utilize that to your advantage. You don't necessarily need to have your own listing. Okay, it's okay to talk about somebody else's listing and trying to sell it. Okay, so knocking on the 25 plus doors for your just listed. Hi, my name is Leo Betancourt. I'm with Remax Terrasol, and I have just listed the Smith's home at 123 Easy Street as an extra service to the Smiths. I'm visiting their closest neighbors to see if there's anyone you may know who is interested in buying a home in this neighborhood. And if they say no one, well, here's my card. If you happen to run across someone who would like to live in the neighborhood, please let me know. Thank you and have a great day. And oh, by the way, I listed the Smith's home for $350,000. Now, there's a reason why. We'll get into why you say, oh, by the way. But also don't hesitate to ask a question, if you know of anybody looking to buy or sell in the community, so that we can help them out as well. And you'll be surprised at the response you get. Your 50 calls around the new listing. Hi, my name's Leo Betancourt. I'm with Remax Terrasol, and I'm calling to let you know that I've just listed the Smith's home at 123 Easy Street. Again, as an extra service to the Smiths, I'm calling their neighbors to see if there's anyone you may know who is interested in buying a home in this neighborhood. It's a great community. If they say no one, again, my name is Leo Betancourt. So if you happen to run across someone who would like to live in the neighborhood, please call me at blah, blah, blah. Thanks and have a great day. And oh, by the way, I listed the Smith's house for $350,000. It's also a great way to send out a video. You can create a video ad, post it to social media, and email out to a video listing announcement. Hi, Robert. Leo Betancourt with Remax Terrasol. For the past 12 years that I've been living in XYZ neighborhood has been highly sought after. Today, I want to let you know that I just listed this beautiful home at 123 Easy Street. As a realtor, I believe in being intentional and proactive. So as an extra service to this family, I'm expanding my marketing plan to include a personal just listed video. If you happen to run across someone who would like to live in this highly desirable neighborhood, please let me know. And oh, by the way, I've listed this property at $500,000. Thanks and have a great day. If phone numbers cannot be located for that particular community, add at least 25 more door knocks, or more specifically targeted ads. I think you guys can do more than 25. 25 can be knocked out very quickly. You're not going to, 25 door knocks is not 25 people opening up the doors. It's 25 opportunities of at least 3-5 people opening up the door. So I think you should at least be able to hit 100 doors to get 20 people that could potentially open up the door for you to have a conversation with them. That just means more opportunities for you guys. Okay. So 25 door knocks around your listing that sell or listings that you have sold. Hi, my name is Leo Betancourt. I'm with Remax Terrasol, and I just sold the Smith's home at 123 Easy Street. During that process, I've come across other interested buyers in your neighborhood, and I was simply wondering if you know of anyone who's interested in selling. If they say no one, here's my card. If you happen to run across someone who's interested in selling, please let me know. Thanks and have a great day. For me, that's a little bit too, cut to the chase and you're moving on. While you're there, and if you're door knocking, find other opportunities to connect and build rapport with them, right? So they might not be ready today to buy or sell, but they might be in the future, and they might not have communicated that to you because they didn't feel like they were going to trust you, and then you're going to come off too salesy, or you're going to come off hardcore approach. So it's very important that even in that small opportunity for you to be there in front of them, and they happen to have dialogue with you and open up the door, build rapport, have conversations, find something quickly to engage and connect with them. It could be a vehicle that's sitting in the yard, 65 Impala. I noticed you got solar panels up on your roof. How do you like it? Have you found that it saved you some money? I mean, there's literally thousands of things that you guys can come up with to have dialogue and quickly engage in conversation. And what you're doing is that you're just trying to connect with people and build rapport and build these lifelong relationships. When you're leaving the house, make sure you jot down your notes, jot down the address before moving on to the next house, so that you can track your results. And when you go back to knock on that door again, you can refer back to your notes and see what you've gone through with your experience previously with them. Your 50 phone calls around the listing that you have or listings that you've sold. Hi, my name is Leo Betancourt. I'm with Remax Terrasol, and I just sold the home, the Smith's home at 123 Easy Street. During that process, I've come across other buyers interested in your neighborhood, and I was calling to see if you know anyone who's interested in selling. And again, you can see if they say no, again, my name is Leo Betancourt. So if you happen to run across someone who's interested in selling, please let me know. Thank you so much and have a great day. And oh, by the way, the Smith's home listed for $350,000. You can create a video message for that. I won't go into that with you right now, but you guys have that available to you. Notifications should be made only after the transactions have closed, when you're talking about just close the transaction and fund it. Also, if the phone numbers cannot be located, and add at least another 25 doors or more to your door knocks or your calls, okay? Here is the phrase that pays, guys. Don't leave out, oh, by the way, because that's a lead generating phrase, okay? When you say, oh, by the way, I listed the Smith's home for $350,000, their response could be, really? I didn't know the homes in this area brought that much. How often have we heard that? You get homeowners that come to your open houses or call you, and they're surprised at the house that, John Roberts listed his house for $1 million when you were thinking they were like $850, because they've been disconnected with the real estate market. Your response could be, some do. If you can get top market value for your home, would you be open to selling? And yes, I probably would. Great. When would be a good time to come out and talk to you about the value of your home? If you're not having these conversations, you're leaving a lot of your money on the table. I utilized that approach with one of my clients, and I was here working at the office, and I just randomly sent out a text, but that same text could have been sent out to consumers in that particular track. Like, let's say you're farming in XYZ neighborhood, you can literally send out a text saying, hey, if I can get you $1 million for your home, would you be interested in selling? One of the responses I got was, yeah, if you can get me $1 million, I'll sell my house. And so I listed the home over in Anaheim Hills based off of that simple text that I sent out when I was here working late at 8 o'clock at night at the office. And it produced a listing and ultimately closed. And by the way, I double-ended that listing too. And that was just a few months ago. The house didn't sell for $1 million. It did the first time it was in escrow, but it ultimately sold for $970. But that one quick little text generated me 4.5% commission overall by representing both parties. So I hope you guys can see, the value of all of this. Accountability is key. What gets measured gets done. Tracking your results. Okay, track. Again, more tracking sheets for you going into your farm area, your just listed, your just sold, your sign calls. You guys can have literally notepads containing all this information for you. The information is key. It tells you where to focus your attention at. An addendum, script builder for lead generation, building your video scripts. We talked about that in the Power of Video Boot Camp. Step 1, a warm open, introduce yourself, smile. Share an item of value or hook of information, spark curiosity within the first 10 seconds. Step 2, deliver your message. Focus on relevant, value-driven content the ideal audience may currently be missing. Speak as a subject matter expert. Become the resource hub for the audience and adapt your content delivery to the audience. Step 3, your friendly close. Thank your audience for listening. Smile. Make sure you include a call to action to continue the conversation and client engagement. And you can adapt this framework for direct messages on social media, targeted ads, and text messages. Okay, so I hope you guys, this is the end of our session today, and I hope you guys have seen the value in all this content that's being provided for you, and you implement it, and at least gives you some triggering point to think, okay, maybe I can adapt and do something differently. Gets me out of my comfort zone. And now that I've got this very basic understanding of what to do, you can get out there and start with that and build upon that. Because everything that you start today, if you stay with it, you're going to be a lot more efficient and effective in what it is that you're doing over time. If you're constantly analyzing what it is that you're doing, the words that you use, the way that you communicate, the way that you interact with the consumers, you're going to be highly effective in what you're doing, and your messages will come across a lot more better. You're going to find that ultimately all of these activities that you're doing is resulting in a lot more transactions that you're doing over the period of time. Okay. And with the results that you're tracking, you can see where you need to pivot right and go in a different direction. So anyways, all right. It's always a pleasure. Happy selling, everybody. Get out there. If you have any questions, feel free to get back to me, and we'll talk to you soon.